processes. It encompasses a set of technologies that include industrial IoT networks, AI, big data, robotics, and automation. Industry 4.0 allows for smart manufacturing and creation of intelligent factories. It aims to enhance productivity, efficiency, and flexibility while enabling more intelligent decision making and customization in manufacturing and supply chain operations. And any definition of Industry 4.0 would also have to include its origin from the term Fourth Industrial Revolution. Since the 1800s, we have experienced three industrial revolutions. We are now in the fourth industrial revolution, that is Industry 4.0 is defined. The first industrial revolution, by the early 1800s, the first industrial revolution was underway. The invention of the steam engine reduced industrial reliance on animal and human labor, ushering in a new age of manufacturing and precision engineering. Second industrial revolution, a century later, the growing use of petroleum and electric power meant that machinery could be leaner and less cumbersome. The second industrial revolution was driven by the assembly line and mass production process, many of which are still in use today also. The third industrial revolution, around the middle of the 20th century, computers hit the scene. The third industrial revolution saw the early development of factory automation and robotics. This era also saw the first use of computerized business systems that were built to manage and analyze the data. The fourth industrial revolution, as of now, today, manufacturing is increasingly powered by information. The vast amounts of data come from across the business and around the world in real time, around the clock. Artificial intelligence is the heart of the fourth industrial revolution, allowing manufacturers to not only gather all the data but use it to analyze, predict, understand, and report. The Industry 4.0 is not characterized by a single technology. It is defined by the seamless integration of a number of systems, tools, and innovations. Industry 4.0 technologies. Industry 4.0 is built on 9 technologies pillars. These innovations bridge the physical and digital worlds and make smart and autonomous systems possible. Businesses and supply chain already use some of these advanced technologies, but the full potential of the Industry 4.0 comes to life when they are used together. That is, different technologies like Internet of Things, cyber security, cloud computing, additive manufacturing, augmented reality, big data, autonomous robots, simulation, and system integration. Yes, this is the diagram. Technologies of the fourth industrial revolution identify these 9 pillars. This diagram was designed by Industry 4.0, the University of British Columbia. One of the most root causes of the fourth industrial revolution is the high-speed, relatively low-cost network systems. They are highly scalable with low response time, wireless and high-speed connections. The speed and availability of the network at an industrial level can greatly influence the benefits of each technology. With regards to the details of the technologies, we did not count separately. The network capacity and its hidden cost is identified. The investments in Industry 4.0 are significantly changing the different sectors by incorporating advanced digital technologies. Businesses are making significant investments in Industry 4.0 technologies. By way of illustration, worldwide expenditure on Industry 4.0 is estimated to increase from $263 billion in 2020-21 to $1.1 trillion US by 2028. The significant funds are allocated to digital technologies, including sensors, connectivity devices, and software applications such as manufacturing execution systems. These technologies allow immediate access to data and insights, improving operational performance. Major companies benefit generally from these investments, like higher production capacity, less material wastage, better customer service, and happier employees. Many executives focus on investing in Industry 4.0 to safeguard their companies from disruption and develop innovative business models are identified. Furthermore, the companies must also dedicate resources to training employees and implementing the organizational changes. A significant obstacle to Industry 4.0 adoption is the high cost of implementing the infrastructure, which requires organization to incur substantial capital expenditure. Prior research has found that small and medium-sized companies need more financial resources for necessary technologies to implement the Industry 4.0 is a demand. Industry 4.0 has moved from talk to action. Yes, Industry 4.0 is moving from, yes, talking to acting. That 67% of the respondents say that expect to reach advanced levels of digitization in their vertical value chains in 5 years' time. The expected benefits from the digitization over the next 5 years are identified here. Additional revenue is generated by 2.7% per annum annually, and cost reduction is possible 3.2% per annum. Lack of digital culture and training is the biggest challenge facing metal companies. That is 49% companies are facing this problem. That is lack of digital culture and training among the employees and income. Unclear economic benefit of digital investments is 49%. Lack of a clear digital operations vision and support or leadership from top management is 39%. All these challenges are identified. Business partners are not able to collaborate around the digital solutions, 29%. High financial investment requirements, 28%. Insufficient talent is 23%. Lack of digital standards, norms, and certification, 22%. Unresolved questions around data security and data privacy is connecting with the use of external data is 20%. Slow expansion of basic infrastructure technologies 20%. Concerns around the loss of control over companies' intellectual property is 9%. Yes, now we go for the cost benefit analysis of Industry 4.0. The Industry 4.0 encompasses the intelligent interconnectivity between automation, digitization, and data analytics. Manufacturers are in a race against time to gain a competitive advantage from the Industry 4.0 investments. The fourth industrial revolution has an impact on the entire manufacturing value chain through effective utilization of all data into valuable knowledge to improve competitiveness, into new insights, to raise productivity and build the basis for new business models, enabling a smart, intelligent, efficient, and connected factory. The Great Recession of 2007, as well as the global pandemic in 2019, has made companies realize the importance of planning and evaluating technologies spent to be able to quantify the returns and create a sustainable environment to promote efficiencies and positive outcomes. Industry 4 digitizes and integrates processes horizontally and vertically across the entire organization, from product development and purchasing through manufacturing, logistics, and service. All data about operation process efficiency, and quality management, as well as operations planning, are available real-time, supported, and optimized in an integrated network of the environment. Therefore, there is a considerable need to understand the commercial benefits of Industry 4, knowing that there will be a reliable return on investment, and paying for Industry 4 technologies at a rate lower than or matching the expected commercial gains will make the investments sustainable for a long time. To be competitive, manufacturers need to invest in the right project in the right time in order to stay ahead in the competition and maximize profits. Companies must have a clear vision for the project, a concrete implementation strategy, and a solid understanding of how it will produce a return on investment. Every company has to recognize where the biggest opportunity for ROI lies and discover the best practices to achieve it. These are the few pieces of advice for better planning of an IoT solutions for maximum return on investment. Determining the company's business objectives, goals, and vision. Identify the opportunities for improvements. Prioritize and identify low-hanging fruits. Monitor efficiency improvements in one area and roll out to other process areas. Starting from small and then to scale, big organizations have seen their ROI coming from multiple points shown below. 10 to 15% increase in plant availability, 8 to 12% improvements in productivity through exception and alert management, 6 to 8% savings in input materials cost through data sciences predictability enablement, 20 to 35% reduction in maintenance cost and planning time, 2% manpower release per department in a factory, and focus on core activities rather than data collection, 20% improvement in operational efficiency, 10% improvement in productivity, and 30 to 35% reduction in rejection rates. Proactive anomaly detection resulting in reduction of process variances and downtime events resulting in 3 to 8% improvements in the process yields are identified. Now, SWOT analysis for industrial IoT, Industrial Internet of Things, identified here. This industrial IoT, being the trending technology, is in talk globally with a mixed reaction, defining its pros and cons. Every, sorry, every new technology comes with strengths and weaknesses during its evolution period and later holds a firm place in the environment. IIoT, industrial IoT, is mainly backed by the network and the protocols that supports the communication that supports the communication between the industrial devices and the industrial platforms to provide various services and perform the required activities. So, So strong networking and compatible protocols can be a key to successful IIoT. The SWOT analysis will therefore assist the industries to build a strong business strategy plan for their development. The first part of SWOT analysis, strengths of IIoT. Connecting various number of devices such as sensors, machines, cloud platforms, and resulting into machine-to-machine communication, M2M, data analytics, integrated asset management, logistics services, etc., are the strengths of IIoT. Through this huge data created in the industry, if processed wisely, will not only result in better real-time decision making and cost reductions, but also results in fostered innovations and application of new services. The clear visibility and transparency in the industry process and various departments can be achieved through industrial IoT, which ultimately enhances the process or production at lower cost. The second part is weaknesses. As industrial IoT deals with a large amount of data, the main concern arises about the data security, data processing, and about the cost for implementation of IIoT. As industrial IoT involves the data and device operations on the internet, there may be always a threat of getting hacked. Though the security and data encryption are continuously improving, it's important to be aware of the malicious activities by the hackers. The other concern is about the data analytical tools that is used in the industrial IoT and its successful implementation in the industry and its compliance. The cost for implementation of this industrial IoT is high. So, selecting the industrial IoT is crucial as everything depends on it, be it the growth or the losses. The third part is opportunities. The industrial IoT is trending in the manufacturing industries as is associated with the lots of opportunities in the near future. With the successful installation of the industrial IoT in the industry, that is with the secure connections and advanced analytics, the device health can be monitored through the predictions and timely preventive actions that will save the maintenance cost as well as downtime. Secondly, through industrial IoT, you can have a prototype of any product that will help incomplete analysis and provide the scope of the product. This can save the industries from future and unpredictable losses. The industrial IoT can be impressively used for inventory management, quality control of the product, and for the enhanced plant safety and security. IIoT will not only enhance the current productivity of the industry at lower cost, but also opens new doors resulting into the new revenues for the organization. And the last part, the threats. As every evolving technology has a few lag points that will improve over the time, the main threat here is the hacking as it lacks of preventive measures for the strong cyber attack. The industrial IoT deals with a huge amount of industrial data, and if such cyber attacks occur, it will result into massive loss to the industry as it will lose its competitive edge. The digitalization of the industry may result into loss of employment, and the uneducated skilled labor are low-income employees will be most affected through this industrial IoT. Through industrial IoT, will eradicate the manual data interpretations through its artificial intelligence and machine learning based technologies. Some industries still believe in manual efforts and may not accept the technology that easily. If the data is not analyzed correctly, the obtained data will be of no use in improving the equipment performance is identified. Now you go for return on investment and the cost benefit analysis. In the age of digital transformation, Industry 4.0 has emerged as a revolutionary force that is reshaping the way the business operates across various industries. This paradigm shift encompasses technologies such as the Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, big data analytics, and automation. While the technological provoke is undeniable, a fundamental question lingers for business. What is the return on investment and the cost benefit analysis of embracing Industry 4.0? In this in-depth exploration, we will delve into the economic aspects of Industry 4 and dissect the intricacies of calculating the ROI and conducting the cost benefit analysis. ROI measuring the return on investment when considering the adoption of Industry 4 technologies. Organizations need to evaluate the potential return on investment. ROI is crucial metric that quantifies the financial benefits derived from an investment relative to its cost. In the context of Industry 4.0, ROI is a multifaceted concept involving tangible and intangible factors. Just a minute. In the context of RO, sorry, 4.0, ROI is a multifaceted concept involving tangible and intangible factors. This is the return on investment is identified using a crucial metric that quantifies the financial benefits derived from an investment relative to its cost. It always comparing the cost and revenues are going to comparing. That is the benefits and revenues or benefits and cost. In the context of Industry 4.0, ROI is a multifaceted concept involving tangible and intangible factors. The tangible benefits are the following. The increased efficiency. One of the primary benefits of Industry 4.0 is optimizing the production process. Automation and data-driven decision making can significantly enhance the efficiency, reducing the production lead times and operational cost. The cost savings is the another one. Automation and predictive maintenance can lead to substantial cost reduction by minimizing the downtime and reducing the labor and maintenance expenses. The third one is quality improvement. The improved data analytics and real-time monitoring enable better quality control, reducing the defects and associated cost. Fourth one is inventory optimization. Enhanced demand forecasting and supply chain management can reduce inventory holding cost and improving working capital management concept. The second part is here. intangible benefits. The intangible benefits, the first one is enhanced customer satisfaction. Industry 4.0 technologies enables the business to better meet customer demands through personalized products, faster response times, and improved customer service. The second one is competitive advantage. The early adopters of Industry 4.0 gain a competitive advantage in the market, positioning themselves as innovators and industry leaders. Data-driven decision making is the third one. Access to real-time data and advanced analytics empowers organizations to make more informed strategic decisions. Now you go for how to calculate ROI. The calculation of return on investment involves comparing the net benefits, that is the tangible and intangible benefits, with the initial investments. The ROI formula is as follows. Net benefits minus of initial investment divided by initial investment into 100 is the basic formula for return on investment as per this cost benefit analysis and defined. The cost analysis, weighing the cost against the benefits. Yes, as per cost analysis, what are these things? Earlier we discussed here, that is return on investment, what is the cost and tangible and intangible benefits are identified. Yes, with this cost benefit analysis, weighing the cost against the benefits are identified. While return on investment focuses on measuring the return on a specific investment, a comprehensive cost analysis takes a broader view. The cost benefit analysis assesses all the cost and benefits associated with the implementing the Industry 4.0 technologies, providing a holistic perspective. The costs are identified here. Initial investment. This includes the cost of acquiring and implementing the necessary hardware, software, and infrastructure created by the organization. The second one is training and skill development. The employees may require training to use the new technologies efficiently and effectively. The third one is integration cost. Ensuring the seamless integration with existing systems can be costly. The fourth one is maintenance and upkeep. Regular maintenance and updates are necessary to keep the Industry 4 systems running smoothly. Security measures is the fifth point, is protecting sensitive data and systems from cyber threats is a crucial cost factor. The second part is the benefits. There are 5 benefits are associated with the cost benefit analysis. One is revenue generation. Increased production efficiency and product customization can lead to higher sales and revenue. Cost reduction, as mentioned earlier, Industry 4.0 can reduce the operation cost through automation and optimization. Improve decision making. Data-driven insights enable the better strategic decisions, potentially leading to higher profits. The fourth one is risk mitigation. Predictive maintenance can reduce the risk of costly equipment failures and downtime. And the last one and fifth one is innovation and competitive advantage. Industry 4 can position a company as an industry leader and foster innovation that defined. To conduct cost analysis, all costs and benefits, both quantifiable and qualitative, should be identified and assigned a monetary value when possible. The net benefit is then determined by the subtracting the total cost from the total benefits received from the project. A positive net benefit suggests that the investment in Industry 4.0 is economically justified. Now you go for challenges in calculating the ROI and conducting cost benefit analysis for Industry 4.0. Yes, now we go for discussing the challenges. While the concept of return on investment and cost benefit analysis is clear, implementing them for Industry 4.0 initiatives can be challenging due to several factors. The first factor is here, data availability and quality. Accurate data is essential for calculating the ROI and conducting cost benefit analysis. Inconsistent or incomplete data can lead to inaccurate assessments of the organization activities. Second point is here, long-term perspective. Many of the benefits of Industry 4.0, such as improved decision making and competitive advantage, may not be realized immediately. Business need to take long-term view when assessing the returns on return. So what happened here? That immediately we are not able to get the benefits. It takes some time. That is why, while investing in Industry 4.0, you are supposed to wait some time. Then only you are able to get the benefits. The second point is here, uncertainty. The rapid evolution of technology and market dynamics can introduce uncertainty into return on investment and cost benefit analysis calculations. Predicting future cost and benefits accurately can be difficult. Intangible benefits is the third one. Quantifying intangible benefits like improved customer satisfaction and competitive advantage can be subjective and challenging. The fifth one is implementation risk. Industry 4.0 projects may face implementation challenges and delays, impacting the timeline for realizing the benefits. And sixth one is change management. Resistance to change within the organization can hinder the successful implementation of Industry 4.0 technologies. What are the strategies for maximizing the ROI and conducting the effective CBA, the cost benefit analysis? To navigate the complexities of calculating the return on investment and conducting the cost benefit analysis for Industry 4.0 initiatives, organizations can adopt the following strategies. The first one is robust data collection. Invest in data collection and analytics capabilities to ensure the availability of accurate and reliable data for assessment. The second one is here, scenario analysis. Consider multiple scenarios with varying assumptions to account for uncertainty. Sensitivity analysis can help assess the impact of different variables on return on investment and cost benefit analysis outcomes. Third one is long-term planning. Develop a comprehensive long-term plan that considers evolution of technology and market trends. This can help organizations adapt to changing circumstances. Next one, change management. Implement the effective change management strategies to address the employees' concern and ensure smooth adoption of new technologies. Next one is continuous monitoring. Continuously monitor the performance of Industry 4.0 initiatives and adjust the strategies as needed to maximize the benefits. Collaboration. Engage with the industry peers, consultants, and experts to gain insights and best practices for Industry 4 adoption. Now, what is the status of Industry 4.0 in Indian environment? The Industry 4.0 in India, at the global level, the Industry 4.0 market is expected to be 214 billion US dollars by 2024. Countries such as the US, China, Japan, UK, and many EU, European Union, have adapted Industry 4.0. Germany adapted the Industry 4.0 in 2010 as a strategic initiative to establish itself as a leading provider of advanced manufacturing solutions. It also identified three-dimensional approach to progress in an organized manner. As a part of this, the government provided education and resources to small and medium enterprises, signed collaborative agreement with countries such as China and Japan. India is the sixth largest manufacturing country in the globe. Given its strong focus on Industry 4.0 through the Make in India plan for future development, the government aims to augment the share of manufacturing in GDP to 25% by 2025 from the present 18 to 20%. The government has undertaken many policy reforms such as implementation of GST and liberalizing FDI policy. Given the task, Industry 4.0 offers a great opportunity to the Indian manufacturing industry as a whole. At present, India lags behind its global peers in terms of the adoption of Industry 4.0. The progress that India is witnessing in two critical enabling Industry 4.0 technologies, that is IoT and big data, appears to be developing the right platform to base its small factories. India is expected to command 20% of the global IoT market as of now. Furthermore, the industrial IoT or the segment of the industrial IoT market that particularly caters to the manufacturing sector currently accounts for 60% of the Indian IoT market. The big data analytic market in India is expected to grow at a compound annual growth rate 26%, reaching about 1.6 billion US dollars by 2025. Make in India accounts for 32% of the overall global market share. In rupees terms, it is estimated to be rupees 13,90,647 crores. The Indian automotive industry has taken some steps towards the Industry 4.0. For example, Bajaj Auto taken steps to initiate automation in 2010. Today, it uses 100 to 120 cobots, collaborative robots, in its production process. Maruti Suzuki manages 7 process shops and 5 assembly lines through nearly 1,700 robots. Ford manages to operate assembly 16 lines and body shop at its Sanad plant with the help of 437 robots. Hyundai has taken steps to minimize its labor cost by using 400 robots. The production line in Tata Nano consisting over 100 robots at Tata Motors. Renault is working in the field of automation to prevent accidents. Sectors such as textiles, packaging are adapting Industry 4 technologies. A Mumbai-based multinational company uses intelligent framework to connect all machines and examines the rate of work and efficiency. The framework allows reducing the wastage and organizing the production flows. Yet another Bangalore-based packaging company has connected machines through a network that provides a monthly dashboard about machine conditions. It helps the company to keep predictive maintenance program in its place. Matrix Tools and Solutions, a company based in Pune, provides a product design and helps in adapting new technologies for transforming production processes. Kirloskar Brothers KBL is using 3D printing and IoT in the production operations and particularly casing in foundries. Raymond's is increasingly using new technologies in its factories. The company has adapted robotics, big data, and material science technologies in manufacturing textiles by Raymond's. Marico Industries has been piloting sensor-based systems to capture the manufacturing information on a real-time basis, which leads to real-time production diagnostics. In several of its activities adapted artificial intelligence, big data, and additive manufacturing 3D printing. In India, Honeywell offers automation, big data, and material technology. Logistics and service companies such as Grey Orange, DHEL, and Airtel have adapted artificial intelligence, big data, and robotics in their businesses. Writers Corporation, a global company known for its moving, reallocation, and cash management services, makes use of artificial intelligence and robotics. An automotive group, Mahindra and Mahindra, is focusing on digital technologies such as blockchain, big data analytics, industrial IoT, even augmented reality, AR, and vertical reality to enhance efficiency and boost the growth. The India's competitive landscape. The manufacturing landscape is changing. Countries are constantly challenged on technical capabilities and manufacturing value addition. Especially, India faces competition from China and Europe, and there is a risk of her being crowded out by the increasing technological capabilities of these regions, as they are focusing on medium value segment where India has always been operating. Historically, China has focused on low value technology and low manufacturing value added space, while Europe has focused on high technology, high value segment, and India's manufacturing zone of comfort has been in the middle, both on technology and value added access. Perspective on jobs through this Industry 4.0. There are many causes of disruption and their impact will be felt on a range of mega trends that will transform the Indian job market landscape. A growing middle class, creation of the highly optimized supply chains, and a bunch of smartly connected products and services are significantly changing the job landscape in this country. Now, job roles in IT and BPM, business process management sector, will be visual effects, VFX artist, computer vision engineer, wireless network specialist, embedded system programmer, data scientist, data architecture, data analyst, artificial intelligence research scientist, robotic process automation, RPA developer, language processing specialist, development engineer, 3D modeling engineer, cloud architect, migration engineers, Android, iOS app developers, digital marketing 20. New jobs in automation. The automobile, that is the automobile companies, automobile analytics engineers, 3D printing technicians, machine learning based vehicle cyber security experts, sustainability integration experts. New jobs in textiles and apparel sector. Apparel data analytics scientists, IT process engineer, e-textile specialist, environmental specialist, PCL maintenance specialist, new jobs in BFSI, banking and financial service industry, cyber security specialist, robot programmer, blockchain architectures, process modular expert. New jobs in retail sector, customer experience leader, digital imaging leader, IT process modular, digital marketing specialist, retail data analyst. Just while concluding this, the economics of Industry 4.0 is a complex landscape that requires a meticulous evaluation of ROI and cost benefit analysis. While the tangible benefits of increased efficiency and cost savings are quantifiable, organizations must also consider the intangible advantage like innovation and competitive advantage. Calculating the ROI and conducting the cost benefit analysis, Industry 4.0 initiates can be challenging due to data availability, long-term perspective, uncertainty, and intangible benefits. However, with robust data collection, scenario analysis, and a focus on long-term planning, organizations can make informed decisions about their digital transformation journey. Ultimately, the economic success of Industry 4.0 hinges on a balanced assessment that considers financial and strategic implications. By doing so, business can navigate the complexities of the fourth industrial revolution and position themselves for sustained growth and competitiveness in the digital era. Furthermore, the real-time, intelligent, and digital networking of people, machinery, and facilities allows the manufacturing company to manage the business models and create value networks. In addition, the Internet of Things permitted the creation of network resources and services within the manufacturing process. The horizontal integration is defined as the integration between IT systems within the different production phases as well as the business planning process within a company and several other companies or suppliers in what is known as the value network. With the interconnection and linking different facilities, global production networks or distributed manufacturing systems are realized, which is defined as geographical dispersed firms and entities which are connected together by material, information, and financial flow. Main advantage of global production networks or distributed manufacturing systems lies in bringing manufacturing close to the point of demand and hence satisfying the individual needs of customers and providing support for products' entire life cycle. In addition, distributed manufacturing systems exploit the resources globally and not restricted by the locally available resources. Economic actors believe that the fourth industrial revolution shows the path of development in the near future. The new industrial revolution has an impact on all manufacturing process and in the value chain there is a need for new types of networking and information sharing. The new technologies are also introduced into the production environment in connection with the revolution. These technologies, including the Internet of Things, simulation, big data analytics, cloud computing, system integration, augmented reality, cooperative robotics, additive manufacturing, and cyber security. The success and the dissemination of these technologies in a country can be mostly defined by the joint innovation activity of the government, universities, and industry. As the objective of my presentation is considering the human Hungarian situation was for the government to assess the importance of the fourth industrial revolution and its potential impact on the state economy. This occurred right on time in 2016. It adapted the direction of industrial development with the Irinye plan, in which industrialization plays a major role in Hungary. That is the my presentation is undergone. Okay.
So I request the participants, if you
Yes.
are having
Any
any queries,
questions? Okay.
yeah, any queries are there, you can just put them in the chat box. Not necessarily with respect to the presentation, but regarding any other issues relating with higher education and how Papua New Guinea is pursuing the higher education in terms of especially school of management, how it functions. Such questions also you may seek clarification.
Yes, most welcome. Most welcome. Can you stop screen sharing? Okay. Chart.
Yeah, you can see the charts, Professor, and if you can
Okay,
react.
yes, I am seeing. I'm looking.
ಅದನ್ನೇ ಅಡುಗೆ ಮಾಡಿ
Okay, boss. Anything you want to please?
Prakash, I think
Okay, please.
there is some question regarding social cost benefit analysis.
Social cost benefit analysis. Okay. Any project initiated by any government or any private organizations also, there always looks what is the social benefits for the entire society they are looking. Without the social concept, nowadays, no project is going to accept by any government all over the world, not only in a single country, most of the countries. Without social benefit, no project is going to be accepted by any government in the world. That is a standard. While looking, there are so many things, and social benefit means not for individuals. This is a society at large. That is either pollution, either air pollution, water pollution, or any other things. They are not able to affect the public at large. That is the first primary objective of any government is identified. While creating any project, they are supposed to identify all the things. That's all.
Excellent, Professor Prakash.
Okay.
I thank you very much for your wonderful disposition on cost benefit analysis for the large projects.
Yes.
And especially your take on how the large projects should be viewed in terms of the time frame. Maybe in the long run, they may be.
Yeah, any big projects is always identifying as long-term perspective only, but it's not identifying the short term because of it is the installation stage itself 3 to 4 years. Then again, what happened over using while starting any new project, what happened? It takes that is setup time, and after setup time, it will reach the market. It takes some more time. So what happened? Without completing 10 years long time, then only the organ is going to sustain. Otherwise, no project in short term they can't survive because of in the long term only the project is going to survive and sustainable. That's all.
Yes, as you said, rightly said, the long gestation periods are very long.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for being with us and delivering this session. I request all the participants to rejoin the session exactly at 7:30.
7:32.
At 7:30, the other session starts.
Oh, 7:32 at what time? 9, huh?
9 o'clock, yes.
Oh my God. Why this time frame, sir?
Yeah, this was stipulated by ACT because it's online platform, no? Like all the faculty members working in different colleges.
Okay.
So they have to come back from the work.
Okay, that is why after 6 only they started, huh? Excellent. Very good. Okay.
I think India is changing. we are working. We are working from the
change
home
is
also.
inevitable, sir. Change is inevitable. We are supposed to accept. That's all. But no, we have work from home is more comfortable, but always it is not possible. Some assistance is required, no?
Yes, yes.
Without assistance, we can't conduct these programs.
Yes. Thank you, Professor. We can sign
Okay.
up this session. Next session we will initiate after a 10 minutes break.
Thank you very much, Rajesh. I am extremely happy to participate in your program. I am extremely happy. Thank you very much. Okay.
I request all the participants to rejoin once again at 7:30. Thank you very much.
I will close.
Yeah, you can leave, Professor.
Okay, right. Thank you.
At the bottom of the screen, there is a leave symbol. You can see, Professor Prakash. At the bottom of the screen, there is a leave button. Leave.
Okay, just I will. I want to see that is some people send the messages. I want to see that.
Welcome, Bhargav.
Hi everyone. Sorry, I didn't realize I was on mute earlier.
So, good morning to you and good evening to all the participants. We are about to start the second session of today, the fifth day of the FTP on manufacturing innovation and organizational excellence. Today we have with us Mr. Bhargav Podali, the director, Snowflake, California, USA. He did his master's in Carnegie Mellon University in information systems during 2013-15, and is a BTech graduate in electrical, electronics and communication engineering from JNTU, India. Before to his Snowflake, he worked in Facebook as application engineering manager, and is also part-time board member in Galt Pharmacy, and he's also worked in Salesforce as an architect, Salesforce architect in Slalom Consulting, Palo Alto, California. He implemented a multilingual social community on Salesforce.com to connect customers, partners, and employees on a single platform. He is representing an organization called Snowflake, which is a cloud-based data warehousing platform known for its scalability and flexibility. And we requested him to deliver a talk on leading organizational change strategies for successful transformation. As it is a too early time at California PST time, despite the odd hours, Mr. Bhargav has accepted our request. On behalf of PB Siddhartha College of Arts and Science, I profusely thank Mr. Bhargav for accepting our request. Now I think the session is yours, Mr. Bhargav.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. Hey everyone. I hope you can hear me. But it's nice meeting you all. And also like thank you for the warm welcome and for the warm introduction. So I'm super happy to share whatever learnings I have so far from my career or like from my experience. And then like happy to walk you guys through with like whatever you need to deep dive into. Also, like usually I'm not very good in speeches. So I'll be like super honest upfront. But at the same time, right? So let's actually keep it informal. So if you guys have any questions or if you want to learn about something, like feel free to either post it in the Zoom chat or maybe like like even interrupt me and ask the question in the Zoom so that we can kind of talk about it and like kind of learn from each other. Also, the way that I see this is going to be like a mutual experience, meaning it's been a while since I was in college. So, like my current interactions either with my colleagues or, like the way that we speak in the office could be like a bit of a far from like what the current generation is thinking. So I would love to kind of interact more, meaning I would love if you guys like, ask more questions or kind of explain me to through your thought process so that we can make it as a mutual experience. While you are learning from my experience, I also like equally want to understand how the current generation is thinking about, like bunch of these topics. Um, with that, like as Rajesh sir has already mentioned about my background, I mean, I'm a 2007 graduate. At first, I started working with Infosys. I joined as a software engineer, where I was helping the clients with the Siebel implementation and like bunch of Salesforce implementations. I was in Hyderabad for 3 years, but after that I moved to London. And I worked in London for almost 2.5 years before I quit the job and came to US for, I mean, like to pursue my master's. And in US, I went to Carnegie Mellon and I graduated from my master's in 2015. After 2015, I joined a startup called Zora. I was at Zora for 2.5 years, where I was kind of implementing the solution that they have for their customers. I won't go like too much into those details, but then I'm like happy to kind of take a deep dive in case if anyone has any questions or comments around it. And there is a reason why I'm mentioning this, which I'll try to connect the dots at the end. But anyway, coming back to my career, I was in Zora for 2.5 years. And then I moved as a Salesforce architect. And from there, I moved to Facebook, which is, of course, now Meta. And I was kind of the founding engineer for the team. So when I joined, I was the first engineer on the team. And from there, I helped build the team. I was at Facebook for almost 4 years. And by the time I left, the team has grown from almost like literally 0 engineers to 14 people. And from there, I joined my current company called Snowflake. For the folks who are not aware of what Snowflake is, think of it as a cloud data warehouse. You know, things like Cloudera or like Hadoop MapReduce. So like these are all the on-prem systems, meaning, like if you are a customer, you tend to maintain it yourself. And like Snowflake, where they come in is it is all like hosted on the cloud for the customers. So and I'm actually part of the go-to-market team. So like whenever we come up with a new pricing or packaging or like new marketing strategy or like new sales strategy, that's where my team gets involved, and we try to design systems in such a way that it makes easier for people to go and sell Snowflake. In my current role, I work as director. I have 32 direct reports. Um, and yeah, I mean, it's been a great journey so far. Now, like why I kind of explained this is if you see this path, I think like one thing that you will see that is constant is the change, right? So, and I'm sure like this would be the same case for most of you guys as well when you enter your career. Change is something that is going to be like very constant. And, like change is something that doesn't come naturally to us, but then we have to find ways to adapt to it. And if we don't find ways to adapt to it, then we might be like left behind. So with that, I mean, I have like few points that I wrote last night, literally. Like I said, I'm very bad in presentation, so I just like took some notes to kind of understand or like to kind of figure out what topics to deep dive into when it comes to change. But like before I go further in, I'll take a quick pause and see if there are any questions or comments from the group, because we do have quite a bit of an audience. So let's see if there is anything from the group.
So far, no questions were posed.
Okay, awesome. Cool. Yeah, so then, right, so let's talk about few companies before, or like few scenarios before we dive into, or like deep dive into what actually makes the change successful. So like let's talk about Kodak company, right? So as you guys are aware, Kodak was the leading company in photography. Not sure how many are familiar with it, but they were the first company to come up with that film cameras, and they were like the leading company when it comes to anything related to cameras, be it video or like art. I mean, be it like video or the still cameras and like whatnot. And where they really failed is the evolution into the digital photography. That's where they failed. They failed not because they didn't have the technology to kind of do the digital photography or like the digital resolution. They in fact had the solution to kind of identify how to solve for the digital cameras and how to like digitize the whole thing. But they didn't actually change to it. And the number one reason why the executives or the top leadership at Kodak did not change is at that time in like 85 to 1990, these guys were like doing, like 12 to 14 billion dollars in business. And in those times, that is a very big revenue, right? And whenever these new changes come in, or like whenever these new technology in innovations come in, one common thing the leaders at the top try to do is they try to map the change that is coming in to the revenue. Meaning, if we like take the Kodak and like go back in time in like 1990s and like 1985 time frame, right? So this new technology, digital photography, there is no projection on how much money it is going to bring into the business, or like how much additional revenue it is going to bring into the business. And if you also think about it, right, the more the world goes into this digital side, the more it is going to have an impact on its traditional film revenue, or like the traditional ways of which it was generating the revenue. So which is the number one reason why the top leadership at Kodak did not prioritize it, not because they did not have the technology, but like, 5 years forward, companies like Canon, Sony, Samsung, these guys took the opportunity and they actually moved very fast with it, right? And then like every time there is a very big industry or like a very big market, small players actually play a critical role. And in fact, like for companies like Sony at that time, who were just trying to enter the photography market, they didn't have like a lot of products, right? So it's like they got nothing to lose, and they took that opportunity and they marched forward. And fast forward today, we don't have Kodak anymore, right? Even though they were the leaders, in fact, the revenue that they produced was actually much more than what the other 10 next competitors produced. But like fast forward to like 20 years, the company is no more. And the number one reason why the company is no more is because they failed to adapt to the change, no matter how big or small it is, right? And let's take like one more example. Maybe like this one was a little bit far before we all are aware of, but let's actually talk about Yahoo, right? I'm sure like most of you have heard about Yahoo. So Yahoo in like 2000s, and even to some extent when I came to US in 2013, it is one of the leading technical company. So they had the first email to the market, as in like for the mass consumers, and they had the search, and they had the social media side of it as well. So in a way, if you see, right, they had solutions for search, which is equivalent to Google. They had a solution for social media, which is equivalent to Facebook, and they had solutions equivalent to Yahoo Mail, which I think like still some of us use today. But then again, like during that time in like 2010s and 2008s, they were the leading mail subscriber platform for most of the people, right? So they had solutions like Google, Facebook, like the whole company, and Gmail, but still they were left behind. And why they were left behind is because of the same reason. They failed to capitalize. So they had all the solutions, meaning they figured out how to do the things, just like how the Kodak did in the case of the digital photography, but they failed to capitalize the market. So they failed to make a connection to the people who would be like using those products. So that is a second critical angle, which is very important for us. I mean, like for the companies to reach out to their consumers. And it is not just, I mean, like the companies, yes, like they are there to reach out to their consumers, but at the same time they need to cater to their internal employees as well, because unless they convince their own employees on why this matters based on like whatever their vision mission is, if they are not able to convince their employees on why it matters the most, there is no way that employees can build the product in such a way that it will be used by the consumers or the customers. And maybe like, before I go like further in, maybe I'll also take the Nokia example. Maybe like this is something that we all can correlate to, because my first phone was Nokia while I was growing up in India. So this one is like somewhat closer and like dear to me. As you guys are aware, or also like as like some of you have seen, like Nokia was probably the first successful phone maker in the world. When I say like the phone maker in the world, it's like they had the whole global market during the 2007 and like 2008, right? I still think they produce like some of the best phones in the market. Like that hardware, even I think they had like one of the version or like one of the model as Rock. And I was actually, I mean, I laughed at the time when they released a model called Rock, as in like who would name their phone as a Rock, right? But then like true to it, for Nokia phones, you don't need your screen protectors. You don't need your, like phone cases and like whatnot. It was like literally a rock in the hand, right? Even if you drop it like 50 times, the phone is just going to function normally, right? So that's actually a very hard thing to do if you take about the phone. I mean, if you look at the phones today. But then like where they actually failed is they failed to adopt the smartphone market, right? So at that time, like Apple was like barely producing any iPhones. Android was not even in the market. Google was still working on the Android OS, and it is still not in the market. And Nokia had a lot of advantage, and they had like a lot of runway to make best use of it, but they didn't really understand what the smartphone segment is. And instead of kind of reusing whatever people have already started working on, they try to build their own OS, right? So like just like how we have like Android and iOS, they try to build their own OS called Symbian OS. I'm not sure how many are aware of that word or about that OS. But anyway, if you guys have never heard of it, that kind of explain why the company failed, because they weren't able to produce in such a way that it can be used by the people, right? So as in like going back to my examples right from the beginning, the first one, they had the technology, but they didn't really use the technology because they thought it's not gonna, it is actually gonna make an impact on the revenue for the company, which is the example of Kodak. The second thing, when it comes to Yahoo, they had the technology and they also like took this technology to the market, but they didn't really understand how to connect the technology to the common people. Like whatever the search or email or the, like the social media platform, they weren't able to like really connect with the people. Why? Because the employees within the company didn't really believe in it. So they weren't able to sell enough to the consumers. Coming to the third side, Nokia. Um, this is like somewhat of a mix of the first two examples, but on top of it, it is also about when you are a leader, you tend to think that whatever you do can work for you. Unfortunately, that is far from true in like today's world, which is very fast evolving. And like companies like OpenAI and like ChatGPT, which are like nowhere on the global space like 2 years ago. And if you see now, and if you like kind of check what are the fastest growing companies on within the US and actually throughout the world, it is probably like going to be like OpenAI. Nvidia is like kind of an outlier, I would say, where they were in the market for a large period of time, but then like quite recently is when they started gaining a lot of momentum, be it like because of the crypto market or be it because of the AI market, or like even the gaming market as well. But anyway, going back to that Nokia example, going back to the Nokia example, it is about thinking that you are the leader and you can do whatever you want and still the consumer is going to buy, right? So like that kind of mindset will not really like go anywhere. You have to prioritize innovation, and you have to anticipate market shifts. Again, I think I kind of spoke nonstop for a while, so I'm going to take a quick pause and see if there are any comments or questions from the group. I'm actually reading through the Zoom chat.
Manali question letter. I think is the problem. No, American latest share.
Ford also committed the same mistake, sticking to V8 fuel. That is true. I mean, like Ford also is in the same category, but thankfully they're still around. Hopefully they stick around. But if they don't, I mean, actually, if you see the latest product innovations from the Ford side, at least now they have started segueing into, like the EV segment and, like bunch of the other things. Especially they have released a pickup truck, which is all EV based. But still the point is valid, where if you don't fail to change and if you don't fail to innovate, no matter how big the company is, or even it may feel like the company is an empire and it will never fail. There will come a situation where it will just be, like kind of house of cards, where if like the first two cards or three cards fail, and then from there it's just going to be a free fall, or like kind of the snowball effect, like how we all talk about. So yeah.
Basics.
Is sticking to innovation more important or sticking to what customers want? So the way that I think about, I think this question was asked or is asked by Ayandeep. So the way that I think about this, Ayandeep, is one should lead to the other, right? I mean, customers are always going to want whatever is the latest innovation or like whatever is the latest technology, right? You could be like 2 or 3 versions behind, but there wouldn't be a wider gap between what customer wants and like what the latest innovation is, right? For example, take iPhone, right? iPhone is not the leading innovator in any of the phone features, right? So like whatever camera features or like whatever the AI, for example, right? So they are not the first to market when it comes to these features, but they are not very far behind as well, right? So they really check what the other people are doing. For example, Samsung, or like Motorola is not a good example because they are like kind of on and off, but they actually check what Google is doing with its Pixel phones, and they check what the Samsung is doing with its phone features and like whatnot, and they actually take those features in and they refine it and they produce something that is actually better than them, right? So what I'm trying to say is you need not be first to the market, but you can be the best in market when it comes to learning from your peers, right? So back to the question, is sticking to innovation more important or sticking to customers? I think these two are correlated and there shouldn't be a lot of gap between both of them. Do we innovation or creativity plays vital role? That is true. Do we have to focus innovations that satisfy customers or lifestyle? Actually, if you can provide more context, I would like to understand a bit more on what is, and like what you mean by satisfying customers or lifestyle. Yeah. Moving on, there's a lot of innovation ideas, but true to implementation and into practical way, it's true risky, just like nano car, as cheap car in spite of most affordable cars. Yeah, I mean, so this, I mean, I still remember when like Nano was released by Tata, right? It was a blockbuster. Not when the car came out to the consumers, but when the idea was sold to the Indian public, because during that time we didn't have like a lot of cars in the market, or I would say like not a lot of affordable cars in the market. And when the Nano was released, the idea was a blockbuster, right? So it's like producing a car for 1 lakh was like kind of never heard of, right? So that's what it is. So like sometimes you do fail because the product may not live up to the expectations. Even though nano car by itself is a failure, it actually propelled all the car manufacturers to think about this segment of having this like lower end car market instead of just focusing on the medium and the high end, right? I mean, like whatever car manufacturers that we have today, every car manufacturer has a car in that entry segment. So in a way, I actually see nano as kind of a propelling force to push manufacturers to kind of start thinking in those segments and like start producing the products which kind of meet that customer segments as well. Yeah. Yes, I mean, like there is a practicality of it as well. Yahoo Ready female are surviving in the market. When can you say something on their survival? Yes, I mean, so these guys are still sticking around. I mean, like, so the company Yahoo was valued at 22 billion, if I'm not wrong, because like Microsoft tried to acquire them and they had like several offers on the table. Actually, Yahoo had an opportunity to acquire Google. Not sure how many of you guys are aware of it. So Google was like ready to be sold to Yahoo for $1 billion. And the company, even though they had money in the bank, they didn't really buy the company because they thought it's kind of, like waste of money. But anyway, so the company was valued at 20 billion or like 22 billion when Microsoft entered into a deal with Yahoo. And within 7 years, the company valuation went from 20 to almost like 1 billion. So they're still surviving and they're still like sticking around. But I don't think it'll be long time before they just like cease to, like support Yahoo Mail and the Ready Female. I mean, again, I don't want to speculate, but at the same time, there are not a lot of people who are using that. And even the security and, like the safety of those emails is like somewhat in a question. Yeah. But yes, I mean, like the companies are still around, and usually like when big companies like this, when they have a lot of money, they don't like experience a sudden death. It is just going to be like a gradual thing, and it's going to have a very long pull. Yeah. When we discuss concepts like Six Sigma management, lean structuring, what are your options? The same like how far can our Indian companies benefit quality and other components wise while implementing it for real? So the way that I see, like Six Sigma, the lean manufacturing, these are all the methodologies on how you can have like a better quality output, or like how, like a better quality product. These really matter. And these are also, like the driving propellants behind the change, and also like making sure whatever these new products which are coming in have the better quality. But at the same time, what are my opinions? Like how far can our Indian companies benefit quality and other components wise while implementing it for real? Actually, one thing I'll say is this is something that I work very closely. When it comes to software industry, right? The quality of our Indian products is, like same as the products that is coming out from here in US, right? And in fact, like most of the people here in Bay Area, not just in Bay Area, California, but even like throughout the US, I would say, I mean, again, I don't have the percentages to quote, but I would say, like, based on my experience, majority of the people who work in these companies in, like the mid-level positions or even the leadership positions are actually Indians. And we are able to produce better quality softwares or like the better quality products. And it's just a matter of time, like while this kind of expands into the other areas as well. Actually, one thing I'll say is when it comes to the software industry, I strongly feel companies, I mean, again, I have like nothing against these companies like Infosys, TCS, Wipro, CTS. I think they can actually invest a lot in this innovation segment, but unfortunately, they stick to their core segment, which is consulting. That's part of the reason why those companies are still, at like 4 billion or 5 billion, while its peers are actually going into like 50, 60 billions. So that mindset needs to change a little bit, but I know like that's kind of a tangential question here. But like going back to either like your TOGAF principles or like Six Sigma, they will help build the better quality products. Um, and in fact, right, so there is this common notion in the market that the China products are not good in terms of quality. While this is true for the consumer products, but they have actually come a very long way, to be honest. And I mean, I don't say this lightly, right? So the way or the pace at which the Chinese companies are coming to the market, um, and even the quality of the products has increased a lot. For example, take the EV car market, right? Not sure how many of you are following it. If you ask Elon Musk, what is the biggest threat to Tesla? Guess what he is going to say? He is not going to name any American company or any like German company like BMW, Mercedes, or Audi, or like Hyundai, Toyota. He will say that the number one threat to Tesla is the Chinese EV manufacturing companies. And that actually means a lot, right? I mean, like Tesla, if you guys are aware, they are the leading EV manufacturers in the world. And the market cap of that one company is more than the market cap of the next 7 to 8 companies combined. right? So like Ford and, like GM and, like all this Mercedes and like BMWs and like whatnot, if you combine all of their market cap, that combined value would still be less than the Tesla's market cap. And I'm actually talking about market capital, not the revenue or the number of cars produced, right? And what the market cap gives you an indication, since you guys are all MBA grads, you might be aware of this as well. That is how much the company has the potential, and that's how much the investors are trusting in the company, right? So for a company who is enjoying that leading position, and this guy Elon has also a lot of influence in US, both in political side and also on the technical side. He thinks the number one threat to Tesla is the China manufacturing companies from EV. And that actually says a lot, right? It says a lot about their quality. It says a lot about the cost with which they're able to produce. It also says a lot about how many cars they're able to produce and how fast they're able to reach to the market. So quality matters, innovation matters, and also like going faster to the market also matters. Yeah. All right. So I think I did read through all the comments. So maybe like, I can spend some time talking about how to actually navigate through the change and what are the different principles that typically like companies have to work together to kind of make the change successful, right? I mean, again, I prepared these notes last night, so I'll be very honest. And again, like I don't like claim to be an expert in this area, but I'm just like speaking my mind and I'm just speaking from my experience. I think there are actually 5 key strategies which will help any company become successful when it comes to implementing the change. And actually, one more thing that I'll say is these are all the frameworks which will help make sure that it is successful. But in the end, it is the actual implementation of this is what matters. Because like framework is framework, principle is principle, but it really doesn't mean if it's not applied in practicality in the real world. Um, yeah. So like the first thing is actually like setting the clear vision. So when it comes to whatever that new product that you want to work on or the new idea that you want to work on, the vision has to be very crystal clear. And everyone in the company should understand what that vision is, right? So it has to be clear, it has to be purposeful, and it has to be inspiring, right? So like clear is something that we all understand, meaning like everyone should understand what it is and why it actually matters to the company or to the consumers. Purposeful, so that vision should align with the company's core value and the mission. By that, what I mean is, let's say you are Microsoft. You cannot have a vision that you want to produce the leading cars in the world in the next 5 years, right? Because it really doesn't align with your company's core values or your company's core products. So, but again, you could have a vision that you want to be the number one cloud computing platform in the world, because that actually nicely aligns with their software division and like whatnot. And then it has to be inspiring, meaning when we set the visions for the company, that has to be, very large, and it has to be challenging, which actually motivates the people. And when people are motivated, they really rally behind the change, right? So what is the critical thing here is to communicate the vision the company has through various channels and to reach out to all the employees within the company so that they can all work with that same mission or the same vision. Actually, since I talked about Microsoft, right? So we can actually spend maybe like 1 or 2 minutes talking about the Microsoft history. As you guys are aware, Bill Gates is the actually was the CEO, and he is the founder of Microsoft, and he ran the company till 2000, like 1-2 time frame. And he actually stepped down from the CEO role, and he passed his baton to his other founder, Bob Myers. And Bob Myers, he ran the company for like 5 years or like 6 years, I think, before he gave it to Satya Nadella, who is the current CEO. Now, during the Bob Myers time, the company was wildly successful under Bill Gates because he was a ruthless leader. I'm sure you guys have heard about the stories about the Internet Explorer versus Netscape Navigator, or this could be about, like the Windows OS versus Mac OS and like whatnot. But anyway, so I don't I don't want to like digress too much in there. But Bill Gates was a ruthless leader and he was very successful. And then comes Bob Myers. So like Bob Myers, so he was a CFO in the company. He actually played a finance role. I don't know whether he was a CFO or not, but he took over the reins of like continuing the Microsoft, right? And when he took over the company, the number one thing that he did was just like how Kodak did, they started prioritizing revenue, meaning they started prioritizing stock price in the market over the products they're producing to the consumers, right? So with this strategy, you will see success because, like Microsoft was the leader at that time and they did see a lot of success. And he is a supply chain management guy, right? So like where he would understand within the revenue equation, where can he tap into more to produce more revenue, right? But where they really started falling behind is Microsoft, just like Nokia, is also a walled garden at that time, right? So like Microsoft products, they're not open sourced, right? So they are actually closed source. And while they did give some freedom to install whatever apps you have, it is all still like limited, right? And they didn't really have innovation in the cloud side, right? So even though I'm actually using smaller kind of relative here because Amazon was a smaller company in 2008 and 2007 timeframe, right? So they had this new cloud computing division called Amazon Web Services, which is AWS. It was like a very, very, very small place. And when the whole cloud computing started, people didn't really believe in it because they thought, okay, this is not going to go anywhere. Maybe it'll be used for like a couple of use cases, and that's pretty much it. So Microsoft started falling behind on the cloud computing side, and they had some hardware, but the hardware was also not widely successful, right? But still, like from the Bob Meyer side, either the cloud computing or, like this hardware devices or like the latest softwares, these were not like priority because he was actually prioritizing on what is making most money for him, right? So money, like when it comes to Microsoft or the revenue, they made most of their money by selling Windows operating system. They made most of their money by selling the Microsoft Office product. They made most of their money by selling Outlook, which is their email, right? But fast forward today, if you see like where Microsoft is generating the most revenue, they are generating most revenue from Azure, which is their cloud computing platform. They are making most money from their hardware, which is Surface tablet, which is like wildly successful. And they are also making most money from Office still because that is still one of their flagship product. But when it comes to Microsoft Office, it is like no longer a walled garden, but rather it is actually, very loosely coupled and also like loosely integrated into like bunch of other things, right? So where like Outlook and everything is like kind of combined into one, even like the Teams and like whatnot. So when Satya Nadella took over, the bold vision that he set is we are going to make equal space for all the new products which are coming into the market, and we will spend enough time and resources kind of exploring what that is, right? And he set a very clear vision at the company's level, which is relatable to to all of the companies. And he actually set up the teams in such a way that they actually divide and they actually are empowered to make decisions within the team and move fast on that side. So um, I know we kind of digressed a little bit diving into the Microsoft story, but actually back to the point that I was trying to make earlier. As a company, if you are trying to implement a change, they have to set a very clear vision. And that vision is something that should be clear, it should be purposeful, and it should be inspiring for the people. So I have 4 more strategies, but let's see if there is anything. All right. So the second strategy that is very critical is to build the coalition support. So this is what I kind of alluded in my earlier point as well, meaning if you have the clear vision and mission, Now, the next thing is you need to take this message to all the employees within your company, right? I mean, like sometimes when, not sometimes, but when the company grows big, I mean, like take Infosys for an example, right? So I think Infosys today has probably like 2 lakh or 3 lakh people, right? It is, like a very sizable thing. And it's not like one person at the top, like CEO makes a decision and everyone starts following it right from day one. That's not how it works, right? It is actually going to take some time for people to understand what it is and to kind of like gather and like march towards that change. So change cannot be a solo mission, right? You need to have a lot of leaders, you need to have a lot of influencers, and you need to have a lot of champions who understands why the change is being made, and they are the ones who actually take it to the ground level to the people, right? So I mean, like typically, like like the coalition support involves your senior leaders or the execs who have the decision making capability, where they can make the decisions independently of the other. You will have a lot of mid-level managers, because the mid-level managers are the ones who are actually working with the people directly, and they are the ones who can translate the vision into actionable steps. And you will need a lot of influencers are, now that social media is very common, you guys already are aware of the term influencers. So typically when it comes to within the company, influencers are someone who do not have direct reports, but they have a lot of dotted line influence on bunch of other people, because a lot of people look towards these guys or like these influencers as like kind of people who understand what this is and they try to follow them, right? So for the company to be successful, when it comes to any change that they're trying to implement, the second strategy is to build the coalition support, and that coalition support has three levers that they need to pull. One is like having the senior leaders, as in like execs and the senior directors, mid-level managers who can take this message, and also having influencers who can actually take this message in a much more bigger way to all the people who are following them. So that's the second strategy. Third strategy is to engage and empower the team. I think like one of the, I mean, so like change doesn't come naturally to most of us, right? So even let's take our own life as an example, right? So daily, if you wake up at like 7:30 or like 7 in the morning, and you have your coffee, and then you eat your breakfast, get ready to office, and go at like like 9:30 or 10 or like whatnot. When you are like used to this habit, and if you want to change it suddenly, like for example, if you have to start waking up early at like 5 a.m. and you have to be office at 7 a.m., you won't be able to get there successfully right from the day one, right? So maybe like the day one, you might get there, but eventually you will like kind of tire yourself out, and it's going to take some time for you to get used to that, right? So the point I'm trying to make is change is something that doesn't come very naturally, and especially when the change is involved around life changing decisions, and when the change is involved around spending millions and sometimes even billions of money, this doesn't come very naturally. So the third strategy is to kind of engage and empower the team to make sure that they are successful. So that is like very critical. And how do you engage with the teams is, I mean, again, I strongly believe in informal leadership style, meaning it is not leader telling to people like what to do, but rather it is both parties working together on like what is best for each other and kind of learning from each other, right? So there should always be an open dialogue. There should always be an open forum where the leaders can engage with the people and kind of understand what it is. And they have to be transparent. They have to share the updates, and sometimes when there is a change, not everything will go as per the plan, right? So not everything is like kind of a rosy path, right? So there would be several challenges, there would be several obstacles. So the leadership team has to be transparent. They have to share the updates on a frequent basis, including challenges and whatever is the progress that is made. And the third critical lever is like providing the resources. like whatever trainings, whatever tools, whatever mentorship is required, the company has to provide those set of resources so that the employees are truly engaged in the change and they are empowered to make those decisions as a leaders. Yeah. Before I move, let me see if there is anything from the group. It's good. The fourth strategy is like leading with empathy and the resilience. And change is never a strategic process, but rather it is also, I mean, it is not always strategic, but sometimes there is the emotional side of it as well, right? Because people who are going through this change, they will experience uncertainty, they will experience anxiety, and even sometimes frustration, because they may not see the benefits right away, right? So like as leaders, or like as people who want to propel the change, we need to approach these with emotions and empathy, and also with the resilience, right? So we need to be able to connect with the people, and we need to share these emotions, and we need to kind of be empathetic towards the people, right? I mean, like empathy is kind of a big word, and what that means in action is, if I try to like really break it down, right? If you are leading a team, what does an empathy means, right? It actually means three things to me. One is acknowledging the challenges that your team faces, meaning if like someone comes to you with a problem, try to acknowledge that it is a challenge or it is a problem, instead of saying, or instead of reacting in such a way that, hey, that's very simple, why are you even considering it as a challenge, right? So it might be easier for you, but it is not easier for the person who is approaching you with that challenge, right? So the number one thing when it comes to empathy in action is acknowledging the challenge that the team is facing, right? The second thing is like providing support through open communication, right? So now that we have understood what the challenge is, provide the support through openly communicating with this person, right? And then the third thing is being patient, because sometimes the change actually takes time, right? And this is something that I always train my team on here at Snowflake, and that is in general my leadership style as well. When we hire freshers to our team, there is some expectations for the freshers to perform, but at the same time, we cannot compare a fresher to a person who is in that job for the 5 years or 7 years, right? So of course, like when you are like doing some job for a decent period of time, you will like build your skill set, and you will build your confidence, and where you can actually function better. And it's not the right thing to compare the output of what the 5-year experienced person is producing to a fresher, right? So that's so like these three things which I just mentioned, just because it is not a challenge for you doesn't mean you have to squash like whatever is the challenge that the new person or the other person is trying to bring to you as a leader, right? You need to really connect with them, and you really need to understand where they're coming from, and you need to provide this emotional support, and we have to be patient. So that is actually number one, not number one thing, but like one of the critical component for a leader who is propelling the change, right? And the person who is navigating through this change, they also have to be resilient, meaning you always have to maintain positive attitude, and it is not and on top of maintaining the positive attitude, it is also like reacting to the feedback, right? Meaning there is the framework, and there is a long-term vision, and there is a reality of it as well. Meaning when you realize that something is not working out, you want to look into that feedback as opposed to saying that it will all work out in the long term, right? Because sometimes it does, and sometimes it does not. So like as the resilient leader, they have to understand what these nuances are, and make sure they thoroughly check for the feedback before they make sure they make a decision. Yeah. I think like the last one, and like this is one of the critical one as well, is measuring the success and celebrating the success with the team, right? I think like measuring the success is like very critical, meaning let's actually go back to the Microsoft example, right? So the vision that Satya Nadella said was when he took over Microsoft, Azure was like nowhere in the picture. They were not making any money at all. And from there, like one of his clear vision is at least 30% of revenues should come from Azure. So like almost, like 30% is a very big number for the Microsoft revenues. And having a vision that 30% should come from Azure when the product is almost nothing is a very bold vision, right? But like how do you get there, and like how do you like kind of measure your journey is what also matters. Meaning you need to have like a very clear cut measures on how do you identify what the progress is. So they have to be clear and they have to be measurable goals for the change initiative. There should be a regular eval of the KPIs, including the employee feedback. And sometimes, like I said earlier, we may have to adjust the results. I mean, meaning we have to adjust our strategies depending on the results, right? And then the second most important thing is to celebrate the wins, right? While we are all in it for the longer game, we also have to celebrate the wins. So this could be like, acknowledging individuals' contributions, or like hosting team celebrations for major milestones, or like highlighting stories of success to inspiring others. So these are all like different strategies that will help the change successful. Just a quick summary. I know we have been like talking a lot. Is what these 5 strategies are. The first one is having a very clear vision on like what this change is about. The second thing is like building your coalition support, like all your mid-level managers, senior execs, and like whatnot, and communicating through to the employees through them. And then the third one is engaging and empowering your team. The fourth one is like leading with empathy and resilience. And the final one is like measuring and celebrating the success of the team on a frequent basis. So that's my pitch. And yeah, I mean, I think I went through my notes, but yeah, anyway, like in case if you guys have any comments or anything, like feel free to chime in. But yeah.
I think there is a mention about succession planning is one of the toughest strategy which many corporates face today.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is a general observation, but still, I would like to know from you how companies that you have mentioned, they're planning their succession. But actually, India is a different story. India is normally family-based business organizations. They're dominating the corporates.
Mm-hmm.
But whereas US and other Western world is talking about professional approach. So how they're planning the succession?
Yeah, I mean, like succession planning is very critical. And it does like help in a lot of ways. I mean, like the succession planning, by the way, is not just for CEOs, or it's not just for for the CFOs and whatnot, but like rather the succession planning should happen from the mid-level management as well, right? Meaning like, let's say like if someone is getting promoted from senior manager to a director, that means like they would have like more responsibilities as a director that they would play. And that senior manager should have a succession planning on who would be running their day-to-day responsibilities while they take on this additional responsibilities, right? So like that is a succession planning. But yes, I mean, like the companies here, they are actually very big on succession planning. Partially because, like, yes, like we want all the C-level people to operate for a longer period of time, but at the same time, people are going to retire, or like changes happen, and like people want to change to, like different companies and whatnot. So the way the HR communicates, at least to us at Snowflake, and I have seen this at Facebook as well, is if you are a manager and if you have spent 6 months in the role, that's when we have to start planning the successor. And there are actually 2 critical components that we look at in the successor. The first thing is, of course, the skills. Like, does this person have the same set of skills as the current person? And even if they do not have the skills, are they coachable? I think there is some disturbance in the line. Yeah. And the second thing that we look for, I mean, again, I'm just like speaking from my experience. I, don't have like the broader perspective on this topic. And the second thing that we look for is this person, I mean, is this like someone that the whole team connects with, right? So like when this new leader comes in, um, you know, you can actually give title to a person, and that brings a lot of respect. But there are several leaders who do not have titles but still command the same respect from the team, right? So like ideally the people who I mean like who the team members respect as their leader is like someone who would be a very natural fit for the success for the successor. So like for this succession planning to work back, going back to the point, we typically plan 6 months after we enter the role, and we actually like continuously train the person, and then like make sure the transition is smooth. Yeah. But yes, I mean like the Indian space is different. Again, if we are talking about the top level management, yes, like there is a family operated concept and there is a close knit run business, but that is for the top level leaders. But when it comes to mid level managers, when it comes to directors, and when it comes to like even to some extent VPs, I feel it is all like skill based even in India. So the succession planning should happen from all levels, not just at the top level for any company to be successful. Um, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great take, Bhargav. Like succession planning, normally uh, we think that it is only for top management, but it requires at all levels. And there is another comment in the chat box, like, can emotional manager be successful?
Um, I mean, like, so, like, first of all, we should always have empathy and we should be emotional. So, emotion by itself as a skill um, will not make the person successful. I mean, like, forget about manager, right? So, like, even in our real life, if we are just emotional at every single step of the way, I don't think we all can be very successful, right? So that has to be paired with like bunch of other things, like your skills, like what are your hard skills? What is your decision making capability? What is your, like vision and like mission and like whatnot? So like emotion combined with like all of this is what makes a manager or a person successful. But I mean, I strongly believe emotion is a very critical component for the leader, but it's not by itself which will make a leader successful. Um, yeah. Does that help answer your question? I think this was asked by Abdul. Yep. Cool.
I think I think there are no more questions in the chat box. It's a wonderful take, Bhargav. Actually, you have narrated the stories with respect to the change management, how change has been not implemented by companies like Kodak, Nokia, Yahoo. And you also mentioned about some success stories like how NVIDIA, under the leadership of Satya Nadella's Microsoft, how challenging is for them to navigate the most uncharted territories, I should say, as far as technology is concerned.
Yep.
I would like to ask this, I mean, from a layman's perspective about something about your own organizations, like what is the warehousing, cloud warehousing concept, and what is the scope for further growth in that area?
Yeah, for sure. So, so like the latest technology in the market is AI and ML. But whether it is latest or not, it is subjective, because AI and ML has been around for almost like 20 years now, or actually even more. So the AI can be successful dependent on how much data we use to train that AI with, right? So data is like kind of the new oil in the world, right? So like the more data you have, the more you will use it to train your AI models or to train your machine level models, or like forget about A and ML. Even if you as a leader has to make a decision, and if you have, let's say, 1,000 data points versus 10 data points, the person who is looking at the 1,000 data points will tend to make better decisions compared to just like looking at the 10 data points. And where I'm going with this is data is critical, right? And unfortunately, data comes in all shapes and forms, right? Sometimes like the data could be your, like the databases, like where we have all this like structured data, which is like put into tables in rows and like whatnot. And then more than the structured data, nowadays there are like several things, right? Like which is the unstructured data, things like your photographs, things like your audio files, things like PPTs, things like PDFs, things like JSON files, which are not structured, right? So you essentially would need a place to store all of this information. And it's not just about storing the information, but also kind of retrieving them in the real time on need basis, right? So I think like the simple analogy that I would like to use here is back in the day when, like we had like all these desktops and, like laptops and whatnot, we used to store all of our data in a hard drive, or we used to store all of our data within the desktop, whatever is, like the storage space, right? And you can actually store everything there, right? So you can store like all the file formats that I mentioned. You can install database and you can maintain structured data, or you can have like all this like PPTs, PDFs, audio files, video files, and like whatnot. Now today, I'm sure like most of you guys do this as well. Where do we store our data is mostly things like Google Drives, right? Like why Google Drive is very popular, because you are not storing it in a specific system, but you are storing it somewhere on the cloud that you can access whenever you want and wherever you want it, right? So like that's what is the success story of the Google Drive, or that is what is the success story of like the Microsoft OneDrive and like whatnot, right? Now for our individual purposes, I mean, at least, right? So like from my side, for my personal use, I have 100 GB of Google Drive and I'm already hitting that limit, right? Now think of the amount of data that the companies would produce, companies like Apple, companies like, Microsoft, companies like Nvidia and like whatnot. These guys actually produce gigabytes of data every single day, right? And they need a place to store all of this information. Why they need a place to store all of this information is they want to retrieve it whenever they want it and by whoever want it, right? So that's where the concept of the data warehousing comes into play. Data warehousing is nothing but a platform where you can store all of your information as a company, right? And then it is also the concept where you can retrieve it as and when you need it, right? So like that's where, I mean, like that's what is like what Snowflake does, where they provide a data warehouse platform where companies can store whatever data they have, be it structured data or the unstructured data. And it is not just about storing it, but it is also about retrieving it as and when you need it. And actually, one more thing I'll say before I close the loop for the Snowflake is, like before Snowflake came in, right? The companies that were in the market, which were very popular, I'm sure you guys would have heard about it, is the big data, Hadoop MapReduce, Cloudera. So like all these companies were there, and even like some of them were like kind of the leading technologies as well, even Oracle to some extent. But the biggest challenge with those solutions is they have very good support on how to put the data into that platform, but they did not have a lot of support on how to extract the data. And extraction of the data is very critical nowadays with the AI and ML. Because let's say you are driving a self-driving car, right? I think that is now popular in the Indian market as well, because I've seen some YouTube videos where you are driving a car and you can put the car in the autonomous mode, and the car will drive by itself, right? And how is that possible is it is all possible based on the computer vision and whatever is the models that the car is running with, right? So let's say there is an obstacle on the road, right? So like there is a big rock and you have put the car in the autonomous mode, and when the computer vision senses this object, they have to make a real-time decision on what to do with it, right? So this could be like, stopping the car, or this could be like taking a deviation, or this could be like giving the control back to the user, right? And guess how much time the car has to make the decision? Let's say if you're like driving on a highway and you're driving at like 100 kilometers per hour, then you really have a like a split second decision to make, like to identify what path to take, either to brake, either to give control back to the driver, or to take a deviation. So if the solution, or if the data warehouse takes 5 minutes to extract the data and like give it to this model to make a decision, it's not going to fly, right? It has to be like kind of a microsecond decision. That's where the traditional technologies like Cloudera or like Hadoop MapReduce really did not take off, where it would take a lot of time to extract the data, even though they were very good in storing the data. So that's where Snowflake comes in. And that's where, it is not just Snowflake who is in that space. We have several competitors, like, Amazon has their own product called Redshift. Google has their own product called BigQuery. Microsoft has their own product called SQL. And, there is a private company called Databricks. So they are all in the same market area trying to solve similar problems. No, but like Snowflake is also the leading in that space. Yeah, I know I kind of went a little bit tangential, but I hope I answered the question. Yeah.
Yes. Actually, there is some question from Devashish Sarkar. Sensor is key element in Industry 4.0, but India is still far from manufacturing of sensors widely. What is the reason?
I am not very well versed in the manufacturing space, so I'll be honest, I don't know. Actually, even I can't relate like sensor for Industry 4.0, so I might not be the best person to answer it because I have less knowledge on the manufacturing side. But it's a good question. You might want to explore more on this one, but unfortunately, I might not be the best person to answer this.
Yes, I think there are no further questions. So
All
with
right.
this, I think we can wind up the session. On behalf of PB Siddhartha College of Arts and Science, especially from the Department of Business Administration, I profusely thank Mr. Bhargav Kodali for waking up early at 4:30 a.m. in the California and accepting our request to be on the session. And it's a very wonderful take on the change management perspective and what are the strategies for successful transition into the new wave companies. So I think it is evident from the participants that their session is very interesting and most of them have given the positive comments about it. And
awesome.
once again, with this, I once again thank you very much for being with us and delivering an excellent session.
Yeah, I am really happy too. It's very, I feel very happy to connect with wide group of people. I don't get to do this often because like day in and out, we are always busy with our jobs and it's about like going to office, finishing our job and coming back. But I feel really happy connecting with you guys, and I'm happy that I was able to share my 2 cents with all of you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Actually, this is a faculty development program and the group is from all over India. And mostly the faculty are from management departments as well as industrial engineering departments and other departments of engineering colleges.
That's awesome.
Thank you very much for your time. And
Right.
dear participants, please kindly make note of the changing of timings tomorrow. Tomorrow, the first session starts at 2 p.m. Because tomorrow is the last day. We have 3 sessions we have lined up. And 2 to 3:30, 3:30 to 5, and 5 to 6:30. Around 6:30, you'll be having an evaluation test for 1 hour. That is compulsory for everybody. And evaluation will be done by the ATAL-FDP. So I request all the participants to be on the right time in the session for tomorrow and take the evaluation test. Mostly the questions will be in the discussion points of all the resource persons in the last 5 days. So I request all the participants to focus on the sessions which were already taken, and mostly the questions will be from these areas only. And it will be multiple choice based way of evaluation, and you have to give your feedback also. Thank you very much. I think today's feedback form is served, and I request all the participants to fill the form. And with this, we are winding the session of Mr. Bhargav. Thank you, Bhargav, once again.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Great.
Sir, thank you, Rajesh sir, and good night. Thank you for the international resource persons today, sir.
You are patiently listening all the sessions, Ashok. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. So lively, sir.
Very good. Thank you, Ashok. Tomorrow you attend. We have sessions.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was telling my colleagues also. Tomorrow we are from 2 to 8. That's what I was telling them.
It's a long day too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Long weekend, sir, for all of us. Good night, sir.